Hi, my name is Sarah Collins, and I will be demonstrating how to create a professional resume that will land you your dream job.
Okay, so right now I'm just showing like a general template that anyone could use. And at the top, the first thing you want the employer to see would be your name. You want to know you want them to know who you are. So that's why the font is larger. You want to increase it so it's right there and it's the first thing they notice on your cover letter. So for me, I would put my name, Sarah Collins, and then you want to put your address, your phone number, your email. Just gonna scroll down here, and then you want to have the date of when you pass it into them, whether it's via email or mail. And then whoever you're sending it to, you want to have their name and what their occupation title is, and then their address. And then you want to say dear to whomever it concerns. And then I always read the job application that you're applying to. I always put that there, and then the business that you're also applying to. Okay, so information that you should include in a cover letter. So I usually have the phrase, please accept the enclosed resume for consideration for a full-time or part-time position as, and then you would insert the job title that you're applying for and which business it's from. And then you also want to highlight your qualifications and especially technical skills. And you want to make sure that they're specific to the job that you are applying to. And you also want to highlight interpersonal skills and attributes. So, for example, time management, organizational skills, that you're trustworthy. And I can't stress this enough how important it is to make these skills relative to the job you're applying. It's one of the main things you should put in your cover letter. You want to make as many connections you can to the job with your skills, your experience, and whatnot, because it'll make you look like the better candidate for this application, for the business, for the position. All right. And then at the end, you usually want to say, if you require any further information, please do not hesitate to contact me. That way, if they do have any questions, they can contact you. And then you want to say, thank you in advance for your consideration of my application or something along the lines of thanking them. And then you just want to put respectfully. And then you want to have a little signature and then just typed your name. Okay, and now I'm going to go over a resume, and this is a pretty basic resume that could be used for multiple job applications. So like I said before in the cover letter, the same applies to the resume. So you want your name bolded, big font, so they can see your name right away and know who you are. And then you just want to have your contact information below once again. And I included this. It's highlight of qualifications. And basically, the highlight of qualifications is an optional section to add to your resume. So it's not really a requirement, it's just an additional that could you be useful. So basically, this section highlights your qualifications in relation to the position to which you are applying, which can be good because then it's very easy for the people you're applying to can see exactly why you're the most suited candidate for the position. And then you want to start off usually with your education. And then right here, you can see education is bolded, it's bigger font, and then name of the degree or diploma. The name of the degree or diploma is bolded, so that's bolded. And then state the name of the educational institute is not bolded. You don't want to bold that. It's the degree or diploma. And
So
then below,
in
oh
highlights
no, go
of
ahead.
qualifications, so what's an example I could put for that? Would that be like volunteer work? Would that be like awards? Could you give an example?
Yep, so more so, it's kind of some of the information you could take from your cover letters, kind of like that. It's kind of where you're talking about what qualifications you have. Volunteer work would come down below, but you can say it's kind of like you're saying my organization skills, and you would kind of explain some experiences you might have had, as well as just it's kind of overlining things in your resume but putting it into words and examples. So it's more be
Okay.
so some of your personal examples you might have, experiences that you went through, perhaps like a work experience you have by working there. I've gained blah 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 type of skills. They can be organizational skills, time management, you're oriented and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. So I'm trustworthy because my previous job left me the key to the studio and I was able to unlock every morning or something like along the lines of that.
So like that would more be under under your job description, under work experience, under duties. It would that would fall more under there. I guess it's more you're saying you're trustworthy, and it's like you would mention how like these experiences gave me these skills. Like you
Oh,
wouldn't
okay.
necessarily explain in detail there. You would just say it gave me these skills type of deal, and you just want to highlight qualifications that make you the best candidate for this job application. And like I said again, you want to narrow them down and make sure they're as most relative to the job you're applying to as possible. So your resume is never going to be the same. It's always, you want to have a different for every job you apply to, because you want to go through their job posting. All right, so now I'm just going to explain to you, like you mentioned, high-level qualifications, just an example. So for me personally, I could say I have extensive experience working as a member of a team to achieve a desired goal through involvement in student council, band, sports, and being a team contributor and working cooperatively with others has enabled me to develop strong interpersonal, communicational, and leadership skills. So that would be like a highlight of qualification. You're kind of like showing where you got the skills and how that makes you a good candidate for the position. So this would kind of be more directed for customer service, where somebody like you, for example, that's in 3D artist, you might be highlighting some of the stuff that you've learned, like some techniques. You might want to highlight that there. You want to direct it, like I mentioned, for the job posting that you're applying to. That's one of the best things you can do for cover letter and resume, is always make sure that you're taking the information from the job posting, what you're applying to, and making sure your skills and qualifications and your experience is representing what they're looking for, and that will make you the best candidate for their position. Okay, so I just want to go over now the different sections. As you can see, the spaces are left blank, and that's just to show you how much space typical things would take. I just have it like outlined of what it should be. So as you can see here, both highlighted qualifications, education, work experience, etc., is bolded and it's in a bigger font than everything else. And right here for education, you see name of degree or diploma. That should be bolded, and then below it, it's not going to be bolded, but you're going to state the name of the educational institute that you attended. So the degree or diploma will be bolded, and then below it you don't. And then underneath that you will put the date of graduation or state when you attended. So for example, I attend UPEI, so right now I would put UPEI, I would say my degree, and below I would put 2018 to present. If I graduated, I would have put the year I graduated, but however, I didn't graduate yet. So I would put when I started to present date. And then if you wanted here, there is another section for awards. So if you wanted to strictly put it to show what awards, scholarships, etc., that you have achieved while at this institution, or insert your major or specialization, you can also put that there, just to show it under education. Any questions?
No, it all looks really good.
Okay. And then work experience. So this usually takes up more space because your work experience is one of the most important things as well for a resume, just showing what experience you have, what experience you have in the field that you're applying to. And right there, you just want to have the job title first, and then the name of the company, and the name of the company is bolded. And then if you want to put like the location of the work, for example, if you worked on Charlottetown, PEI, maybe you would work in Nova Scotia. And then state when you work there. And again, it could be present, or you would put like from which year to what year. And then you want to explain the duties. So like mentioning earlier, one of the duties that you had was for the key. So you want to explain specific tasks and you want to go in great detail. And also if you can, again, try to shape it towards the job posting itself. That way it's kind of showing that you have experience doing what this job is looking for. So you want to make sure that you're outlining all your criteria and all the information and experiences that you have and putting it in there. So then again, down here is just another space you can see right there for work experience, because typically you probably would have more than one. So I just want to give an example of how long it would be. And then volunteer work. So if you did any volunteer work, just state the type of volunteer work here and name that organization that you did it with. And then for here, I just wanted to kind of show you. So there's skills. Some people can just outline skills, and that's okay too. But for example, per se, since you're a 3D artist as well, you might like putting technical skills as well as other people, because technical skills doesn't just mean online skills. It can mean other things as well. So I just put an example as programming, and just once again, be sure to include skills that are relevant to the job posting. And then there's also interpersonal skills. So once again, make sure they're relevant. And an example of this would be excellent customer service, work fast and efficiently to complete tasks. So those would be more focused into a customer service environment, and technical skills are more focused into more of a hands-on, like what you're doing type of environment, what you have experience in. So programming, any other software that you have that you're taught in and you know how to work, I would put that under technical skills. And then some applications you might see that they actually require some certifications, like some might require you to have a license, some might have first aid, you need to have that. So it's always good to include that. You don't have to, but it's always nice, especially if they put it on their job posting. And then if you have any awards in extracurricular that you want them to know, some information that's not really about the job posting that you just want them to know because it might help for you to get the job. And then you just want to put it in chronological order with the most recent listed first. And just make sure you can put some that aren't towards the job, and then you can put some that are, just to show them that you have a variety of experience.
Sweet.
Any questions so far?
No. Should I put examples for interpersonal skills as well? So if I had, I don't know, say I was really good at managing people, would I like list an example of when I managed people well, or would that pertain somewhere else?
So if you had this experience of how you did that under like a job, I would list it there and just maybe say, like, you would say under there that you had that skill, but under like the experiences, that's where you would underline it under duties.
Oh, okay. So like if I greenlit a project
And
or I
then
got a
usually job
project.
applications require you to have two. It's always good to have two. And usually you want to have a workplace, and you just have references. Again, it's bolded, bigger font. Name of reference is usually bolded, and then their occupation title or their relation to you. So usually it should be work related. It's always good to see if you have noted like a work experience and then you have somebody from that work, that organization. It's always good to have them as a reference. And then usually you have two, and I just put an example here. You can put their phone number and email, and you just say that you can contact them at this, or you could put home phone number versus cell phone number, just showing you different ways how you can put it.
Awesome. Now, would
All
I be
right.
okay putting a teacher's name there, or say I worked for a company doing volunteer work? Would that be okay too? Because I know some of the younger
Yeah.
people here might not have like work experience if it's their first job.
Yep, so you can put that. A teacher is a good reference, as well as volunteer work or anything like that. Yep.
Awesome.
Okay, now let's go here. Can you see my screen? It's a
Yep.
new screen now. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I just wanted to go over for a resume that might be more suited for somebody who's into art, kind of like you yourself, 3D artists. I know some, they include a photo. This was just the template, so I'm not sure who this is.
Probably wouldn't include a photo, but it's
Yeah,
to each
for
their
you,
own.
that's, yeah. Since you're more directed for art, you might not. Some other people that would be into like modeling or other things like that, they might include a photo. But again, just the first name, as you can see, it's bolded, it's larger. You want a resume that kind of pops out. So some formats are more just plain and simple. And personally, I like the ones that will catch your eye as you're looking. So I do like the different colors. Um, and then for you, since you would have a portfolio for your 3D animation and any other drawings and whatnot, so in your contact information, along with what they can reach you at, it's also good to see if you have a portfolio, like another website, or say if you have any other platform, you can link it there. That way they can go see it from your resume. And so this is just the cover letter here that I'm showing you. And again, as you can see, you just want to note who you're addressing this cover letter to. So whichever occupation, organization, business that you want to send this to. And here, I'm just going to show it full screen, and then I'm going to go to the resume. So again, it's the same format, the same template, and it just goes over experience and then education, communication, leadership, references. I prefer the ones I went over before. Probably like the technical skills might be better for you to showcase that. And then again, the website. And then I would like to go over your portfolio, and then I'm going to go over into the job interview itself. So for portfolio, I'm not sure how you personally would like to showcase your art. You might have like different ways, more better ways within that discipline. I'm not too sure, but just an example, you could create an electronic portfolio using Microsoft Publisher or a similar software. I'm sure there's probably better softwares out there that you're more familiar with than me.
Yeah, for art specifically, I would recommend ArtStation. That's a big one
Yes.
for portfolio building. And then there's infinite amount of websites like your WordPress, your that free website builder. Like you could get them for free and just publish your art online and then send a link. I also like to have a hard copy that I hand to the studio executive so he can physically, or
Yeah.
he or she can physically go through it and critique the art on the interview day without them
Gonna
pulling out
mention
a
that when you're
laptop.
in your interview, if it's like an interview for you, or it's always good to bring your resume. I guess I can go into this right now for your interview. So it's always important to wear you want to be business casual. Some people might want to wear suits. Some people might dress down a little bit more business casual. That's all accepted. It also depends on what job application you're applying to. But for my recommendation, you should always bring your resume. Even though they might have it, always bring 2 resumes is safe to say, because usually there's like 2 people that would be interviewing. Sometimes it might just be 1. But also, so for you, you'd bring your art portfolio, and other people would bring their employment portfolio that would just go over everything. Those are 2 important things. So like you mentioned, always bring a paper copy with you so that you can show it to them in person, and then you can go over it, and you might be able to like talk on it, explain what happened. You can go into more detail. I know that they love that, and it just shows your communication skills. It shows all these skills that you outline in your resume. It shows you to them, and then when you're going through it, and I'm sure you probably know more about this, but it probably would be better. You probably should know when you have a portfolio to show how creative, how different art styles you can do. That way you can show that you have like a variety of different art styles. I'm sure you're aware of that as a really good artist.
It's good to hear it from you. You're the professional here. Like I try my best to make like my first image that I show my best piece, and then somewhere in the middle another piece I feel is strongest, and then the end leave them wanting more with another good piece, and then kind of sprinkle variations in between. And yeah, like bringing a portfolio and setting it down in front of a producer, executive, whatever it may be, whoever's hiring, shows I'm willing to take criticism as well, because it's not easy just showing like the fruits of your labor to someone you don't know and having them go through it. So it shows you're open to critique. It shows you're personable. It shows what art style you can do. Like it's all really good information you're telling me.
Exactly. It's also it's neat to know, because just knowing how to do resumes and cover letters. Every occupation is different. So a resume for me is completely different for a resume in your occupation, your field. So I could learn so much more with yours because it's so formatted differently because your scales are completely different. You're showing your art, which is completely different. And it's kind of unique in that way because it has its own like special type of way how you would apply.
Yeah.
So that's pretty neat.
Yep.
And I just wanted to go into a few more tips. I'll go back to just the main resume here. I'll just go put here. So when you're in an interview as well, it's always good to use your hands more. You probably can't see me because my hands are in the photo, but I'm like constantly using, don't be too drastic, but like it's good to use your hands. It also is a way to not fidget. Like if you're fidgeting, touching with your hair, or like tapping your hand, they notice that. And it's always good as well when you first go to a interview, maybe not now during COVID, but always shake their hand, firm shake, look them in the eyes and say, hello, my name is, and introduce yourself. That is one of the like you always have to do that. It's not like it's a shouldn't. If you're doing an interview via online or over the phone, obviously that's a little different. Or during COVID, you can't really shake somebody's hand. But in normal times, I say, where you're in person, face to face, always shake their hand and introduce yourself. And then during the interview, when they ask you the questions, like I said, for the cover letter and resume, it's also applicable in the interview. You always want to make references and experience that you have to the questions that they're asking and try to shape it towards the application itself. But try to use an experience for every question they ask. Don't repeat it, like use different experiences and then use that for each question. And that will show them that you have experience for this job and that you're the best candidate. So overall, you just want to show them the experience you have and you want to frame it to show them that you're the best candidate for the position that you're applying to. And overall, just dress nice, bring your cover letter and resume with you to hand to them. Bring a portfolio, career portfolio, or an art portfolio. And overall, you should be good. Thank them for the interview at the end. And it's always good to ask them a few questions. Even if you don't have any, just ask them some basic ones. It's always good to show that you're interested and engaged in it and that you want to learn more. Do you have any questions about maybe an interview, like some tips and tricks about it, or anything else regarding this?
So say I did an interview today, just theoretically, it was in person, I shake their hand, it all went well, and I don't hear back for a few weeks. Should I email them? Do I give the place a call? How would I follow up with that?
Yeah, and I would say usually some applications, you could even ask that at the end of it, like when should you hear back type of deal. Usually they'll tell you that, I feel like, or at least they should, just give you a heads up. It should take, I know for when I applied to the Parks Canada here on PEI, they kind of showed you apply here and you won't hear back until like you applied in February, had your interview, you wouldn't hear back till like March. If you are curious, I would definitely send them an email about it and just follow up with them and say, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. I had an interview on this date. I'm just inquiring about this job application. As well as it's also interesting to know, I should mention as well, when you're passing in your resume and cover letters, sometimes people do it in person. If you can, that's a good way as well. Sometimes if you want to do it via online, it's also important to know you want to have an appropriate subject line. So you want to have your name in the subject line, the application that you're applying for, and then as well in the message, like the subject in the message box, you want to say again, kind of like in the cover letter, like please accept this enclosed resume and cover letter. And it's very important to know when you're putting that in. For you, it might be different because your portfolio would probably be a separate link than your resume and cover letter. But you want to have kind of like here on my screen, you can see the cover letter is the same document as the resume. That's something some businesses look for. They want to make sure that it's in the same document and not two separate. So you can merge those. And basically you just want to, it's kind of like the cover letter. You just want to thank them for the resume. I'll go back up to show here. So things that you would like to say, this first one is a good one. So please accept the enclosed resume. And then you want to thank them again. And you just want to say, I'm applying for this job application. You want to say the job, and you want to say which occupation, what business it is.
Awesome. That's all really good information. Thank you so much.
So you're welcome. If you ever have any other questions any other day, for sure, just send me a quick message, and I'll help you the best I can.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no, I learned a ton. Like I've never been introduced to this kind of stuff too. It's just like, oh yeah, just make a resume. But it's really important to highlight like the most important things on your resume, your name, your education, your
I feel like
technical
some
skills.
people are under the impression that they have, oh, I have this resume, I can send it to all these different businesses. But it's like, no, like you need to shape each resume for each occupation, each application, job posting you're applying to. You need to make sure each one is separate. Like you could be applying for an art, like for example, like an art job where you're doing 3D animation, or you might be in like a customer service environment where you're face to face with customers all day, and you want to outline your customer service skills over your artistic ability and stuff like that. So it's always good to make sure you change your cover letter and your resume and make sure it's the best suited for that job posting.
Yeah, and making yourself stand out too. Like I know specifically with my job, like every year around the same time of year when all the grads are coming out of college, we get so many resumes and they're all like copy paste because they did the same resume building course. So they all have the same format, and it's hard to pick, new employees when it's all copy paste. So getting your name out there, making yourself stand out, showcasing why you're the one for the job, and like just nailing that down is super important.
Exactly. And I feel like for art, you can definitely do that through showing your different abilities, different styles of art. Like you mentioned, how you like to do some and then you can do other stuff. That's important to show all the variety, and definitely the good stuff, and kind of how you express, which order you put it in.
Yeah.
It's very important to do so.
My teacher was really good with college because he knew right away, like, because we're doing the same project, each and every one of us, by the end of the year, we would all have the same portfolios. So he's like, you know what? This is what we have to do. If we have to do a robot project, I want you to make it your own. Like, nothing is out of bounds. If you want to do it, if this is more in your style, I want you to make that, because at the end of the day, that's what makes you more hireable than the other person, or like more suited for one job.
Exactly.
We're all hireable. It's just, are we right for this position? So, some people might be specializing in environment art, whereas I like character work, or some people might like cute characters and other people like scary monsters. So you want to make sure you're the right candidate for the right job and applying the right way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
totally agree.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I learned so much.
You're welcome. Thank you as well. I find that stuff so cool. Now I can go show some people and be like, this is how you do it. Obviously, I can't.
I know how to video game now.
Yeah. And then I can be playing Halo and I can be like, guess what these are?
I know about Polyflow now.
All right. Well, thank you for coming to our training trays, and I hope you guys learned some information too.